Again, if you just want to get it done and you just need something kind of decent or
That
below
anyone,
decent,
yeah.
just it needs to function. The same kind of person who's like, I don't need anything nice clothing wise. I just need pants that are clean relatively and a shirt. I'm good. And that's my same attitude toward my home or this building. Then yes, any decent architect out there will probably be fine for you. But if you're at all a little more specific with what you want, and you are at all a little more engaged in design and interested in design and want something that's above decent, then yes, finding the right pairing is incredibly important. The relationship that you have, the relationship you have with the architect is going to be half, if not more, of what dictates the quality of the final building in terms of not just, I don't mean construction, in terms of the whole thing, design and construction, everything. More than half of that is going to be dictated by the relationship you have with the architect.
Hiring an architect is also someone you hire for their people skill, meaning the communication you're going to have with these people, how comfortable you feel talking to your architect, how reassuring your architect could be with you, how much you trust him or her doing what's best for you. You're not just buying a professional service, you're buying a relationship with a person for however amount of time this is going to need to be. And you don't want to embark on that journey, on that very complex journey with someone that you don't really feel comfortable, or someone you hired just because you like the stuff on their website, but you've never met in person, or someone that meets your price range and seem to be doing okay work. Like, you do have to do some homework before you hire an architect for yourself, for them, make sure that you don't wasting their time, and for the project, make sure it turns right.
Most projects that either end up being really stressful or they don't turn out is because there's the wrong pairing from the very beginning. And anyone who's lived, 30 plus years, you understand that. You've worked in a team before, a team setting. You know that the problems can be avoided at the very beginning and problems are caused at the very, very beginning. So I would say that pairing is probably the most important thing in any building project.
It's very important, and if it goes really well, like, there could be magic happening. Like, you could both, the architect and yourself, like, end up with something that went beyond what you could imagine you could do originally.
Yes, and that's the key. And that's one of the kind of confusing or different things about architecture compared to other stuff. And as we've said before, like, architecture is not an off-the-shelf product, because when we go to design a building, we may have a rough sense of certain things, right? Rough sense of volume, because based on the zoning code, we can't go this high. A rough sense of program, like we're doing a gym as opposed to a home. But almost beyond that, it could be anything.
It's like, imagine, I don't know, you're hiring a painter to do your portrait.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, if you're being very, defensive or very cold with each other, portrait's going to come out a certain way, right? If you're being very intimate or amicable, it's going to come a different way. So I think people underestimate how private and personal the conversation we have with clients about basically how do you live, how do you use your bathroom, what do you do in the morning, what's the last thing you do before you go to bed. Like, those are things that you probably even voiced ever to anyone because you're just doing it, but they're key things for us to understand how we can make it better, how we can make it different, how we can improve it, how we can make it personal to how you live and not someone else does.
I think there's a perception that the transaction is much more straightforward and clean